Today is the first Sunday of Lent. And normally, every first Sunday of Lent, we read about the temptation of Jesus Christ as we begin this season, these 40 days of preparation, these 40 days of penance, these 40 days of sacrifice, these 40 days of preparation for the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ that eventually brought about our salvation. The temptations of Jesus, 3 of them, actually can be summarized as the temptations that we always have. The scripture tells us that Jesus was led into the desert after his baptism. What this means is that this story about the temptation would have been told by Jesus himself because he was alone, praying, preparing for his public mission for 40 days and 40 nights, fasting. The wilderness, the desert, is always a place of encounter, a place where we encounter God, where we are empowered. But it is also a place of battle, where we do battle within ourselves, where we do battle with the devil, where we do battle with the world. St. John of the Cross will tell us that the 3 enemies of the spiritual life is the world, the devil, and the self. So in the wilderness, we do battle with this. And we see this in the temptations of Jesus. But before we go into the temptations of Jesus, I want to take us back to the gospel where Jesus asked the disciples, "Who do people say I am?" And I want to change that question to, who are you as a person? What do you say about yourself? There are 3 possible answers to this question of who you are. The first is, I am what I do. And sometimes people ask us, who are you? I am an engineer, I'm a doctor. I work at this place, I do this, I do that. But what we may ask ourselves, when you stop doing that, does it mean that you cease to be? When you stop building bridges, when you stop repairing cars, when you stop being a professor teaching, does it mean you cease to be? When you stop being a philanthropist, stop feeding people, stop helping people, who are you? I am what I do. Again, another answer could be, I am what people say I am. I am who people say I am. So whatever they say, they give you compliments, then you rejoice. And that is why we frown when we are criticized, when people don't talk good about us, when they say evil against us. We are not happy. We fight. We kill. We go into conflicts and quarrels. And the third possible answer to that question, who are you, is, I am what I have. Possession. And this has made many people to abandon many things and misplace their priorities because they want to acquire. It could be political possession. It could be material possession. It could be wealth. It could be knowledge. So I am what I have. These three answers actually are the three temptations of Jesus presented to us today according to Luke's gospel. The first temptation was, if you are the Son of God, turn these stones into bread. I am what I do. But in this, we see that there is no need for Jesus to prove to the devil that he is the Son of God. If you can do this, then we believe. If truly you know who you are, there's nothing to prove to anybody. And this has brought a lot of troubles in some places. Maybe there is a conflict, a quarrel, and somebody tells you you can't do anything, and to prove to the person that you can do something, that you are somebody, then you go to do that evil that he has challenged you to do. If you are the Son of God, turn these stones into bread. For what benefit? Eventually, Jesus will be turning or multiplying few loaves to feed a multitude because there was need. In the desert, there was no need to turn stones into bread. Yes, he was hungry, but he was sacrificing it for the encounter he wanted to keep with God in preparation for the mission. My dear friends, we don't need to prove to anybody by what we do. And sometimes even out of shame, because of what people will say, we do beyond our capability. We do beyond ourselves. We go beyond ourselves. The attitude of Jesus should guide us. Be convinced and do whatever you do for the common good, not for self-satisfaction, not for self-glorification. This temptation will continue to come to you. If you are this, then do this. And the second answer, I am what people say I am. This goes back to the next temptation. If you fall down, then people will believe that you are the Son of God. Vainglory. If you fall from the parapet of the temple, then people will believe. You want people to say, you want people to sing your praises. You are what people say you are. And when they stop saying that, then what becomes of you? You cease to be. Even if what they are saying is not the right thing. Jesus did not fall to that temptation. He rejected it. He refused to show off, to show his glory, to show his power. He knew that the only way people will acknowledge who he is through his passion, his death, and his eventual resurrection. Many of us want the short way, the shortcuts. We want to cut corners. We don't want to follow the long route, the route that leads to what we are looking for. And this has led many people astray because they don't want to follow the right and rigorous ways, the rigorous route that would get them what they want. Many times we even make this false assumption and false proclamation: the end justifies the means. The end does not justify the means. The means must be right, must be correct, must be morally justified, as well as the end, for the process and the outcome of the process to be right, to be good, to be justified. So there's no need cutting corners, because we want to be praised by people. They will praise you before you, but behind you, they'll know the truth. And sometimes we prefer those lies people tell us, those praise singers that would never tell us the truth, because the truth is always bitter. We should desist, we should fight such temptations. We should make conscious effort not to fall into such ditch. And then the third temptation of Jesus, or the third answer: I am what I have. I will give you the possessions. I will give you the kingdoms of the world if you bow down to me. What possession can do? What power can do? The quest for power has led many people astray. But Jesus resisted that temptation. He already knew that the kingdom of the world belongs to him. But his kingdom is not the way we think about kingdoms. The last Sundays of the year, we always celebrate Christ the King. He's the King of the whole universe. But he doesn't need to prove it to the devil. He doesn't need to worship the devil in order to become a king, to take upon himself what belongs to him. But there are many of us that want that power, that want to inherit the kingdom of the world at all costs, by all means. We mortgage our souls for this. We trade our souls. We go to any length in order to have power, political power, material power, whatever power it is. My dear friends, today's gospel passage is an eye-opener to all of us. The temptations come in different subtle ways. It could be for possession. It could be for power. It could be for wealth. It could be for pleasure. So the three temptations of Jesus can be summarized, the three temptations, into three P's: pleasure, power, and possession. And these temptations are always the temptations that the Christians go through. The quest for pleasure. Nobody wants to make sacrifice. Turn this stone into bread. Whatever pleasure it is, we must always fight it. The Christian values, the Christian way of life has given us, empowered us to fight all sorts of pleasure at the expense of happiness, the joy that comes from knowing God and living in accordance with the gospel values. The second is possession. I will give you the kingdom of the world. We want to possess. I will give you all this. And then the power to rule others, to decide. So let us desist against these 3 P's. Jesus, our Master, the conqueror of all, guides us. And the only way, the best way to conquer these temptations is to be united with Jesus Christ, with God. Jesus went into the desert to pray, to prepare, to have an encounter with the Master, with God the Father. So we too must have that encounter, create our own wildernesses within our own lives, within our homes, within our society. A place where we can always reach God to recharge ourselves so that we'll be able to overcome the temptations when they come. And one more important thing, Jesus was able to reprove the devil with the scripture, quotations from the scriptures. For us to be empowered to do this, then we need to study the scriptures. We need to be versatile with the scriptures. The devil will come quoting the scriptures to you. But if you don't know the scriptures, how are you going to respond? So it is important. We know Jesus through the scriptures, and then also use the scripture as a weapon against the devil, against the plans of the devil, of the evil one, of the enemy. So I pray for that grace as we begin this Lenten season, that we may remain steadfast and that we may continue to be empowered to overcome the tempter in whatever means that he may come to tempt us.